Well, at my school, we're having a little bit of reform fatigue, honestly. We have been put through a lot of iterations that have come down from policymakers that have not necessarily included the voices of teachers or their input from the ground up. And so I'm very cautious about school reform. I do appreciate the need for change. I do appreciate the motivation to change and all of the energy and the spirit that's coming from people who want our school system to change. But I do believe that teachers and educators, all educators, which includes counselors and teachers' assistants and the kind of at-school personnel who are in the classroom working with our sons and daughters to actually be involved in that school reform. Well, I expect to hear the positions and the past experience of these people. I'd like to learn from it. I would also appreciate the opportunity to let them know that the teachers who are in the classrooms are very much beleaguered and very much in want of positive reform for their own classroom children. And I'd like to get some help for them. I don't really ever know what to expect from Michelle Rhee. I would expect that she is working on legislation, that she's working on big issues at a very high level. I would expect to hear about some of that work, but I would also hope to hear that she is working towards involving actual school site educators in the process of describing and defining what the next steps will be. I'd like to know how long they were in the classroom. I'd like to know what steps they are taking now to ensure teacher voice in reform efforts. And I'd like to know what they're doing to support a clearly delineated and well-funded pathway for teachers to advance the profession and themselves professionally. Yes and no. I am coming to this town hall. I'll start over. I'm coming to this town hall with the idea that these people may be very far removed from the school site. I'd like to hear differently, and I'm open to hearing differently. I'd like to be able to bring my ideas to the table and to be invited to the conversation in a more lasting and meaningful way than just a town hall meeting in Los Angeles tonight.
Well, there are so many, I really don't know where to begin. We have seniority issues, we have tenure issues, we have horrible dismissal statutes where it's very, very difficult to get rid of bad teachers or even pedophiles. We have an archaic way of, an industrial style way of paying teachers, where teachers get paid by years on the job, not how good they are. There are many different issues that really need to be addressed for us to get to a better place. I'm very involved in education reform. I'm part of National School Choice Week. I run an organization for teachers who are a little more independent, think outside the box. I write, I speak publicly, I do a lot of networking. I'm very interested in this particular event because we have Michelle Rhee, who is a former school chancellor. There's Steve Perry, who is currently a principal of a school in Connecticut, and George Parker is the former head of the Washington Teachers Union. So these people are coming at reform from very, very different directions, and I'm very interested in hearing how they all coalesce. I think the first thing we really need to do is to honor good teachers. We don't honor good teachers. We throw all teachers into the same basket. This is partially because of the union's influence in education. I want to honor great teachers, and I want to get rid of the bad ones, because all teachers are not the same. We have good lawyers, we have good doctors, we have bad lawyers, we have bad doctors. It's the same thing with teachers, and we must honor the good ones.
I am in favor of education reform. I work at a charter school right now, and I serve a student population of about 97% Latino students. We're a Title I school, and based on what I've seen and heard with the other schools in the community, I think education reform is always important. I think that we should always be looking and reflecting about our current state and always trying to improve, and education reform can get us there. I think some of the biggest issues facing education right now, especially in our state, are the huge budget cuts that happened over the past few years. Class sizes in LAUSD have gotten so huge. One of my best friends also teaches 7th grade science at an LAUSD school, and she has classes up to 40 students. Whereas at my school, we limit it to 30 students. So one of the ways we can fix that is by giving more money to our schools. I hope to hear more about people's varying perspectives on the different issues. I'm just starting my third year teaching, and I'm sort of a sponge who's trying to learn as much as I can and eventually take my classroom experience to a higher level by advocating for my students, maybe on the policy level. So right now I'm just here to learn and hear about other people's experiences. I would ask the crowd and the panelists, what is their best idea of how to engage students so that it's not just the adults talking and making decisions for them? How can we include student voice in these decisions?
I am absolutely a supporter of education reform. I think that our education system is in peril. We have a ton of issues that really need to be at the forefront of our domestic policies. For one, the quality of our teachers, how we support teachers, how we train teachers. They are the most important people in our schools, and they are the people who impart knowledge on our kids. So I am extremely excited about the conversations that are starting to happen and really open up to begin to have that discussion about ed reform. I think that the town hall meetings are a really positive thing, primarily because they really open up the dialogue that we need to be having, make it more public. People who are a part of our education system need to be having that dialogue more publicly, I think. I think that a lot of times it happens behind closed doors, or there are decision makers who are kind of higher up making those big decisions. And we've got families, we've got parents, we've got teachers who are on the front line who aren't able to really be involved in those conversations. That has to change. And I think that this is a step forward in making that change and giving everyone a voice in this decision making. I think the top thing that's been on my mind recently is in terms of the issues that are most critical in ed reform would probably be teacher evaluations. How do we evaluate and retain and support teachers, train teachers to make sure that they have the tools necessary to be able to deal with all of the things that are happening in the classroom with our kids. We know that our kids come from a lot of different home environments, and they come to school with a lot of that emotional and physical baggage, and we need to be able to be the best equipped as teachers to be able to support them. So I think that in terms of evaluating our teachers, I think that's going to be a hot topic for a really, really long time. I'm not sure that any party is ever going to really be satisfied, but as much as possible, if we can open up that dialogue so that a number of different stakeholders are a part of that decision making and a part of that dialogue, then I think we'll come to the best conclusion possible.
I think a big issue currently is teacher quality. I think it's very important that our teachers are held accountable to impacting students on a daily basis and leading to stronger education and stronger skills and growth for our students. I think that accountability is lacking right now, and especially in the public setting. And I'm fortunate to work for a charter school where I have a lot more flexibility with teacher quality and holding them to the standards our students need to succeed. I think a town hall discussion is great because we need to get more ideas out there. I think right now the charter movement and some of the more cutting edge educational ideas are not getting as much media attention and as much coverage in the communities that we serve, and we need to make sure that there's a forum and that the reform is being pushed to just do all we can to not keep education business as usual, but to move education forward in a way our kids deserve. If I could ask one question, I would definitely ask Michelle Rhee, because I think she's amazing, and I would just ask her, what did she do wrong in DC? Because I think her tenure there was too brief, and what did she learn as an administrator that she could share with me as an administrator on how I could be successful, not only in bringing student achievement to the next level, but also in connecting with staff and making them feel empowered to serve our students as best they can.